I'm going to be doing these every week at 7 o'clock Thursdays. There's no one here right now. We'll see, and we'll wait to see if someone gets on. I've been thinking about whether or not I should post this one. I'll probably end up posting this one. So here we go. My story. Sorry, I feel like I'm always chasing the sun. So whether I'm like doing pottery or working, like right now, I'm up by UVU, which is a big part of my story. But essentially, I feel like I'm always chasing the sunset. And really, it all started, I was trying to think of like what I could share. And I think it's good to give some background about my kind of like work ethic and experience. First off, when I was 12 years old, I was walking around a motorcycle shop with my dad called Moto Frugals. Shout out to basically my other dad, Greg Jensen. When I was 12 years old, I asked him for a job, and it was pretty nerve-wracking, and he took a chance on me, I guess, and said, yeah, this summer we might have something. So I washed dirt bikes from when I was 13 basically till I was 18 and went on a mission. I did a lot of other cool stuff with him. Greg, he took me to go race dirt bikes and to ride Harleys out to the Larry H. Miller track. I am a huge adrenaline junkie, so fast cars, fast motorcycles, that's where I'm at. And evidently, during this time while I was working there, I was a senior in high school, so I'd be like 17 at this point. I started going through some really hard times, trying to figure out what to do, because the decision of whether to go on a mission was coming up. And so I decided I was going to go on a mission, but at the time I thought I'd have a year. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to go to SUU. That's where my dad went to college. And I really like it down there in southern Utah. That's why we live down there now. And when I moved down, before I made that jump, they announced in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that the age change was going to change from 19 to 18 when, young men can go on a mission. So I remember washing my dirt bike, and my mom comes out and she's like, "You're going?" And I'm like, "What?" She said, "You're going. They changed the age. You're going on a mission." And before I knew it, my mom was just, "Hey, what's up? Thanks for joining." Just talking about my story. I was at the part where I figured out I was going on a mission a year sooner than I thought. And when I started to get all these interviews, with the bishops, the president, I just got so overwhelmed. And I don't know if depressed is the right word, probably. I just didn't have any self-love. So evidently they put me in ceramics because I need an art credit to graduate. Again, this is my senior year, so everyone's getting their mission calls. I'm kind of just not in a good spot mentally. And thankfully I had an awesome ceramics teacher named Brandon Barrett, who he was going through some hard times too. So him and two other kids that he taught down in Mapleton would come up, and we would do pottery till 9 o'clock at night or midnight. And so that's how I started to get really good at pottery, and it became mesmerizing and honestly helped me start to heal mentally. And so this is just to kind of give you some background information on how big of an impact pottery has changed my life. It literally has saved my life. where one day, you know, I still was going through these hard ups and downs, like mentally, and trying to figure out what to do. And one day, you know, through all these weeks, I was feeling just like I did not love myself and didn't think I had any self-worth. And then one day, I made a beautiful pot. Like, I almost like choke up because I remember this day vividly. It was this beautiful pot. Kind of looked like something you would find in like Greece or something. And I was just like, I had this small, still voice say to me, how could you not be worth anything when your hands can make something like this? And so in that moment, I just kind of broke down inside and realized, oh, I'm not totally worth and maybe to offer this world. And so that is the very backbone of why I started the Kreative Kiln, was so that I could help people access that therapeutic feeling and therapy that pottery can give you. Totally changed my life. So from there, I went on a mission, went to the Spain Malaga mission, came back, started to feel depressed again, and figuring out what am I going to do with my life. It's kind of like the same episode. Well, I started going, like, I didn't even buy a pottery wheel yet. I started job hopping. Like, I would find a pretty good job here, and then I would learn as much as I could, and then once they, like, basically put a hold on my learning, it felt like didn't really give me any opportunities to keep learning more things, then I would lose interest and just get so bored and then start looking for another job. And then I'd find another job. So this started from doTERRA's customer service representative to going to this place called Nova Coast, which is another tech company, to going back to the Motofrugals place, and then going to Oracle, being a tech customer service representative, which was pretty sweet. And the same thing over and over until I got to Vivint. And Vivint was different because it was kind of like a startup. At the time, they were doing a Best Buy deal where they'd have sales guys in Best Buys. And so I was like this special projects coordinator that helped launch it. And it totally tanked. And everybody got fired after like a year and a half. And so here I am again, just like, oh, man. So then I can't remember if I went to another tech company after that, but then Vivint called me back and they wanted me to do another one of their testers. They teamed up with Sam's Club. So they already totally failed, like millions and millions of dollars just blown at the Best Buy deal. And so now they're doing it in Sam's Clubs where they set like lead setters in there. And I promise this all links to why I started, or how the Kreative Kiln was started. But basically, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try some sales stuff. I was a pretty good missionary in sales. It's not that scary. So I become a lead setter, and I just start basically crushing it as a lead setter for compared to like the rest of the team, I guess. So I was really pushing to my manager. I was like, hey dude, you should let me like train these guys so that we can lift all of our numbers up, because I'm not even kidding, I was getting like 7 to 12 leads a day and everybody else was getting like 0 or maybe 1. And if that one was 1, who knows if it was a quality lead. Like, I would try to only set leads that I knew were quality so the closers could have, you know, close it, and then I get paid. So that eventually burned out in a way. So, but thankfully, again, I got let go. This time it was basically I got fired. So my manager, he was awesome. I really did like him, but he started to see that things were not going well. Still wouldn't let me train other people. which is kind of unfortunate. But I was like, well, you know what? I am demotivated now. I don't really like get rewarded at all. I don't see any opportunities in the future for this because they just keep holding a throttle on me in a way, just like all the other jobs. And that's kind of what they do when you're a college student and you don't have much experience. So I totally get it, but it was really frustrating. So I would get my 7 leads and then just do homework. And he came in one day and was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Leads." And he's like, "So?" And I'm like, "Well, how many leads has everyone else gotten?" And he's like, "It doesn't matter." And I knew no one had any leads. So I was like, "Well, I don't think anyone else has leads, obviously. I've been watching the chat. And so I'm sorry." So he got really flustered and then just walked away, like stomped off, pissed. And so I was like, oh crap. So basically, a couple days before this, we had a meeting and he was like, "If you're not feeling good and you're not going to get leads, you might as well go home so you're not wasting the company's money." So I decided, well, you know what? After that argument and not so fun interaction with him, I'm not having the best day. I could probably set some more leads, but I'm already at 7. You know what? I'm gonna clock out and go out. So I walk out to my car. I'm driving down the freeway. And take an early day. As you said, it was okay if we weren't feeling good. And honestly, I don't feel very good after what just happened. And so I'm headed home. And all he said was, "Well, let's just have today be your last day." And so I'm like, wow, did I just get fired? Like, you literally fired the #1 lead setter that was holding this program together, because we were just a pilot. Like, it was just our small team. They're trying to figure out what was going on, and I was the only one that was getting any leads. Fired very often. And for this, so after he told, so anyways, I decided to go home. I took my last commission check that was like $2,400. I bought another pottery wheel because at the time I just had one, and then I bought some supplies, and I created a website that day. So within 2 weeks, I had a website up and running. And then what I did when I started the Kreative Kiln is I got an Instagram going, and then I found the Gem Studio. And the Gem Studio is where you can go and make rings. Super cool place. And I was like, that's so cool. Maybe I could do something similar that this guy started the Gem Studio a handful of months before I started. So he was up and going, and I was like, well, he's teaching people how to make rings. That's a really cool skill set. Why don't I teach people how to do pottery and see if that goes anywhere? So I have to make a shout out to my dad, because he's always been so supportive in the end, even if maybe he's a very smart guy. Parents, they always, they've been around the block. So he's always given advice, but he's always been super, super supportive, and anything I've tried. And so he was very kind to let me kind of set up shop in his garage. He has this 2-car garage and then another 3rd-car garage. So I'll just set up in the corner there and maybe just see where this goes. Well, before you know it, and this is how I started it, what I did is I got some content posted. So if you're wanting to start your own business, you don't know what to do, you have a skill set, maybe blowing glass or making handmade knives or canyoneering or anything that's like an experience, you can go get cool footage of just friends and family doing your experience, post that on your social media, and then go and follow similar businesses. Like, follow their followers. And when they see you, they've just done a fun experience from another business. So chances are they're going to want to start your business, or not start your business, but go to your business and experience your experience. So I started following people who were following the Gem Studio, and evidently I got my first customer. They came, and it was like the most awkward dance, I guess you could say. So they get there, I'm nervous as all get out. I've seen my grandparents, they've had, a few businesses, but never really ended up going anywhere. But they went out and did it. They had their own restaurant. It was really cool. I always loved being able to go and get candy too, because they sold candy there too. But it was kind of like I was my own pioneer in a way in my family. Like my dad, he's always had super stable, successful job. And so for me to go out and become an entrepreneur, especially after getting fired from my last job, was really scary. But what you start to realize is when you start putting things out and putting forth effort, miracles start happening. And so what happened was I got my first, class booking, and they came, and like I said, it was an awkward dance. I was so nervous, sweating like crazy, and just kind of I had a little bit of a plan before, but just kind of winging it, and just deciding, well, I'm just going to show them how to do pottery, and then they can pick a color and I'll finish it for them, Bada bing, bada boom. Well, they come, they have a great time, but when we're finishing their pieces, I had the torch and I wasn't watching, and the girl completely burned her bowl to the point where it cracked in half. And so now I'm like, frick, the lesson's gone so good, and it's the very first lesson. So first time I've encountered someone's bowl kind of splitting in half from being torched too much. And I was like, crap. So I think what we did is just put some water on it, tried to fix it, and we got it to a point where it was fine and it worked out. But when you start a business, you're gonna run into, that was the very first kind of incident and thing. And then as you grow and do more and more, you just run into all these problems, which makes it really fun. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I get bored if there's not a challenge, which is why I think that I went from job to job when I was a college student, because college jobs, they kind of suck anyways. But if I don't feel like I'm being challenged or pushed towards being my full potential that I can, I will jump to something that feel like a direction that God wants me to go. So if you start your own business, just count on becoming a professional problem solver, because there's plenty of problems to solve, not only in the world, but in the business that you start. And if you guys have any questions at any point about business, and if you want to start your own business and you're not sure about it, or how do you make the switch from having, full-time thing and doing thing on the side, and then the side thing becoming your main gig, I would recommend that you listen to, obviously, the clean versions of John Bellion. He has an album called The Separation, which is about basically around the time that he was becoming separated from being just a normal kind of 9-to-5 career job to becoming a successful artist. And I listened to his songs every single day when I was first starting out. You have to find something that'll keep you going and motivated, because I was doing pottery lessons. You'll be working like crazy. I was literally doing pottery lessons from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night, and then doing online classes in between all of that. And that's what made it possible, was these online classes, which was super helpful. Because the deal was my dad, he said, okay, Tyler, if you want to do this and do it in my garage, you have to keep going to school and get your degree. So I did. I got my degree in entrepreneurship and business management at UVU, and was able to, and it helped me throughout my business. And then fast forward, opened up the studio in January of 2020. You remember when all that chaos happened? And survived that just fine. We actually thrived pretty well. And then now we have a second location in Provo, and our business has been ever changing since. Because what I learned in my MBA program last year is, if you're not growing, you're shrinking. And so if you find yourself shrinking, you need to pivot and change things or add more value. So like right now, what we're wanting to do is we do these fun date nights, and we have the pottery wheel experiences. We have our handmade pottery experience, which is pretty cool. You can come and paint a handmade piece of pottery, like bowl, ring holder, cup, vase. And we're going to do even more with that. But also, we're wanting to we're going to come out with a full new membership tiered type subscriptions, where it'll be super affordable to just be able to come in and throw pottery if you want. And then if you want a little bit more, like storage space and unlimited clay and stuff like that, then it'll be tiered up a little bit. So we're always changing and finding ways to grow. If you guys have any questions, please put them in here so I can see them. And if you have any questions about pottery too, I'm more than happy to share my secrets. But so anyways, the Kreative Kiln was born, and we are trying to open up as many studios as we can so that we can provide a welcoming, fun place for people to do pottery and create together. And so we're building this community of pottery artists who are, seeking it for therapy, seeking it for just to be around people, learn a new skill. Because what's interesting about pottery, and probably ring making too, is you can figure it out like on your own, but it's gonna take you a long time, because pottery is freaking hard. We try and tell people before they come, like, hey, it's really hard, and that's why we're here to help you. So I've helped people via like FaceTime and stuff, and it helps out a ton. Trying to think what else to share, because we've got about 7 minutes. If I can see. Oh, what's this? Top chat. Okay. There's Marina. She's so cool. She does pottery for Alice Lane. I should have jumped on that train. It's so cool. She basically makes all this really high quality shout out to the Clay Maven. That's her Instagram name. Makes all this really high quality, fancy, but simple and elegant, gorgeous looking pottery for higher end retail, which is really cool. You can find ways to make money anywhere. It's crazy. You could do it teaching pottery lessons, selling pottery, probably do it teaching about how to make a business. Tons of ways. Selling. People do molds. We do Christ molds. That's a whole nother arena. I did want to mention one thing. So we've been doing the Kreative Kiln since, like, in the retail stores, not out of my dad's garage, since January of 2020. And there was a point in my life where my life literally got flipped upside down again. And had I not had pottery and mountain biking, I don't know what would have happened. But when you're growing your business, you know it's going well when it goes so well that all your systems and processes shatter. And so I was getting these huge blows to my personal life, to my business, totally shattered. And so I had to go in and figure out, okay, how are we going to make this work? So what happened was we got tons of influx of people coming to do our studio. Because I think most people, they don't see like behind the scenes of what's going on. Like, I can't tell you how many like mental breakdowns I've had where you just feel helpless. And one thing that's always helped me is looking to God or whatever your belief is there for help. And when that happened, I started to go back to UVU, to UVU Institute, and go to these devotionals. And then I got a prompting I should go to MBA school. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I hate school. Why do I feel like God's telling me I need you to go to MBA school? Well, in MBA school, like a master's in business administration, you study all these Harvard case studies of how businesses fail. Now, you can imagine a small business owner like me at the time, whose business was falling apart, failing, felt like a complete failure, is all of a sudden studying how all these other businesses who had been really successful ended up just failing horribly. The first like 3 months, I was sick. Like, I loved going to class because I would learn a lot of stuff, but I'd hate it too because I'd feel like just, I don't know, like the worst business owner in the world because I felt like I was failing because my systems and processes shattered. We couldn't get people's pottery back to them within like 3 to 6 months. And so step by step, taking what I learned from MBA school and applying it to Kreative Kiln, one of the things I learned is whatever business you start as you grow, if you don't make it somehow a tech business, like if you don't use technology, then you're gonna fail at some point, or you just won't be able to grow very big regardless. And so I decided to start investing in more software to keep things more organized, now to the point where our systems and processes have improved immensely. Like, instead of not being able to get people's pieces back to them in 3 to 6 months, it's 1 to 2 weeks. And we can ship pottery really easily from the studio now. And life just seems a lot less chaotic. But I think that's where the growth came in, from those stressful times. So, anyways, I hope you learned something. Whoever tuned in, whoever's going to watch this. Hi! Hi, Charlotte! That's my daughter! No matter if you're crying or dancing, just remember the sun will always shine for you. And keep your head up. Beautiful things happen that you don't expect. She's so cute. I better go. I gotta start heading down south. But if you have any questions or need anything in the meantime, just shoot me a DM. Really appreciate all your help and support. Even though I know we're a really small YouTube channel right now, I'm trying to build something really cool, inspiring, and that can help the community out. So we've got a lot of fun stuff coming out, such as more videos. There's going to be one that drops tonight, again, midnight. We're going to do some scavenger hunts with pottery and money to help promote people getting out and into the nature and outdoors to enjoy that. And so stay tuned for future. If you have any suggestions, or yeah, if you need anything at all, just DM me and I'll help you out. So have a good night, you guys. Thanks for joining. See you next week at 7 p.m. I will be doing pottery. So if you want to learn how to throw big, or you have something specific that you want to learn, just DM me and I'll try and throw it in there, answer all your questions that I can. See ya.